Hello, grace-filled morning. A warm welcome to Maritime and Port News. Maritime and Port News is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Shippers Authority. They provide you with the best in all your shipping solutions. Contact the Mother Shippers House in Accra. You can also join us live on YouTube, on Omanfm, and on Facebook on the 2TVGH. Tune in to Omanfm in Kumasi for more maritime and port news. My name is Nanesi Boateng. In our stories this morning, the Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association, Richard Matthew, has lamented that overcapacity has been a major contributor to Ghana's rapidly declining fish stock. According to Mr. Matthew, there are too many fishing activities going on in Ghana's marine space, making it near impossible to recover the lost fish stock. He said Ghana has crossed beyond the maximum sustainable yield, which indicates an overexploitation of the country's fish stock. Mr. Matthew revealed that from the last fisheries management plan after World Bank project, there were suggestions of about 9,000 cannons as the limit, but they are now close to 15,000 cannons. At the time, we had over 100 trawlers. The proposition was 45, but agreed to 75. Now, there are about 75 trawlers. Thus, he said, means we are losing our fish stock, so we have to find ways of reversing this to make sure we are sustainable. The Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association asserted that with Ghana operating an open access fishing system without a functioning regulatory mechanism, the access capacity only looks to increase. In other stories, the shipping industry is bracing for what many project will be another difficult peak season as maritime and logistics interests attempt to prepare for the increased demand. The shipping peak season typically begins in mid-August and lasts until mid-October. This period, due in large part to the upcoming holiday retail pressure, is often characterized by high demand, low supply, and scarce container capacity, which typically lead to higher freight rates. However, with the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, the industry over the past 3 years at the start and end of the season have been far from the standard. As the global economy adjusts to the pandemic and territories ease restrictions, an increase in demand is expected to further challenge the supply chain. For some, including Neil Smith, Deputy Chairman of Shipping Services Limited Group of Companies, this year may be even more difficult than the last, when a shortage of containers, lockdowns and bottlenecks at port caused significant delays in shipment. For importers who need to get ahead of the rush to meet consumer demand, the coming weeks will be all important for their businesses. Importers can expect the usual delays, especially in Montego Bay, and higher freight rates, while Smith warning that they should also be on the lookout for pop-up shippers overseas offering low freight rates. Many importers flock to the low rate and then are left searching for the whereabouts of their cargo. If you just joined us, you're listening to Maritime and Port News. Prices for shipping containers are plummeting due to oversupply, pushing freight rates down by about 20% globally after supply chain disruption caused a container crisis last year, industry insiders say. Now, the average price of a 40-foot standard high cube container has stumbled in the United States, Europe, and China since last summer. Data from online logistics portal Container Exchange showed. In Europe, average prices have fallen from about $4,000 in August last year to $3,445 in Hamburg and $2,741 in Rotterdam in June. prices have dropped from nearly $5,500 to $3,788 in Los Angeles over the same period. Despite concerns about rising coronavirus cases, average prices at three major Chinese ports, Shanghai, Qingdao, and Ningbo, for a 40-foot standard high cube container have fallen to between $3,900 and $4,200 from $6,000 over the past 10 months. In our final story, Cyprus has already overcome the loss of Russian maritime trade due to European sanctions, and the Mediterranean shipping hub is chasing business expansion in Japan and elsewhere in Asia as it looks to grow its flags, a senior government official said. Cyprus, together with Greece and Malta, which have the largest shipping fleet in the 27-member EU and host large ship management centers, have been the most vocal countries in the bloc seeking to limit the extent of shipping restrictions imposed on Russia after its February invasion of Ukraine. Cyprus Shipping Deputy Minister Vasilos Demetriades told Reuters that contrary to reports, the register of Cyprus ships is not dependent on ships of Russian interest or connected with Russia. He said, "Our strategy is not to depend on any nation. We do have multidimensional shipping clients that attract business from different segments in Europe, and we are looking to expand in Europe and Japan and wider Asia." Demetriades said Cyprus had some ship registered from Russian state-run shipping group Sovcomflot, adding that there is a Russian link to a small number of Cyprus ships out of the total 1,100 registered ships. On this note, to wrap up this morning's edition of Maritime and Port News. Maritime and Port News is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Shippers Authority. They provide you with the best in oil shipping solutions. Contact them at the Shippers House in Accra. You can also join us live on YouTube on Omanfm for more Maritime and Port News. My name is Manesi Bwajama, producer Kweko Bwaji. Have a great day.
Yenso akwan suju medie hia mo man bia nkanko edi Ghana eku wiase na di wiase so ba Ghana Shippers Authority ani so ade hu ne se ye bebo nsuo so adwadifo e wo haw bia wonam mu efiri no ma ayra di aseye tika yaji wa emfa kwan so eni haw ahodo pi ye nya daje tren nsuo so adwadifo eno ma eko se de be ya wo beti ase ye ni so ade hu ne se ye besom ni asom sompa Ghana Shippers Authority e wo Ghana Shippers House Ridge Accra Gapoha Towers Tema NCA Building 4th Garden